Hey people, it's me, Lucky Veda again, and out of all the videos you could have stumbled upon, you clicked on mine. That makes me lucky. So come talk about art with me today. It's another art talk, art sit down, art chat type thing. Today we're discussing education, my experiences with art education. So come along, I'm going to share a sketchbook of mine that I had through my college years, which was not that long ago, 2014 through 2017. I'm just going to share some little experiences that I have, no judgments. Maybe these experiences can help you in some way if you're deciding whether to go to school for art, or if you just want to hear about my experiences, that's cool too. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in the voiceover. Thanks for joining. Oh, by the way, check it out. My inked shirt came out of the wash pretty good, and it's looking all right. So bloom scrolling is like kind of based on doom scrolling and that like negative thing. So I love puns and I like turning things into like a silly positive spin. So we're not doom scrolling over here on the Lucky Veda channel. We're bloom scrolling. So like it's all gonna feed into, you know, your creativity, your imagination, because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm really like doom and gloom, I'm not scrolling, I'm not doing anything. I'm just in bed doing nothing. So to be honest, if you're scrolling, you got some kind of spark in you. You're looking for something, you know, that's blooming. You can bloom from that. And check out my Etsy where I'll be putting some more of those on there, hand painted and hand tie-dyed, because as you can see back there, I've gotten into tie-dye pretty hard this last couple weeks. Anyways, if any of that appeals to you, don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. I actually found this whole big bag full of sketchbooks, and yes, this is the one. So for anyone who's considering going to a school to do art, all I would say is just do your research and try to find information on the professors and the exact classes you will be getting, because that would be my number one takeaway from all of this. If this is all you watch in the video, is just, if the school doesn't show exactly what it's going to give you, they're probably not going to give you much. So this is the only class that required an actual sketchbook, or that we got feedback on our sketchbook from a teacher, but the teachers were not, like, they didn't have art degrees. It was more of a sociology class about creativity through our lives, and so it was more of just about art journaling and learning how to art journal. And that's kind of how I felt about all of the introductory classes. Were just very basic, and you had to pay for all of your own supplies. They didn't really provide anything except for things which to paint from. Or like this class was way different, and it didn't have assignments like that. It just was like this is a reflection from what we discussed in class. So yeah, I'll just get into the first page. I did a little bit of mixed media stuff. She's blowing some smoke, which is a lot of like how I felt in, like I had to blow some sort of smoke in order to fit into what everyone else was doing, and it just had to all sound very good and like sound educated. But for example, for this class, for a class about inspiration and stuff, and they had advertised it as like, we're gonna bring in local artists and they're gonna talk about their process and stuff, and we didn't really have anybody come in to talk to us at all. We did some research on some past graduates and had to write a paper based on someone else's master thesis, and then we all got assigned to somebody in the area. I got assigned to like a 90-year-old man in a nursing home who was a tenured professor there still, and he was just like gone. So it was all a little bit questionable. It's like, what are we really talking about here? And so this is just some journaling, and I noticed that it's all like really big words, like this is gonna be my art journey, my art quest, and we're gonna find what inspires me. But like, then I look at the painting and I just go like, it looks pretty, but there's like absolutely no substance to it. You know, there's the moon cycles, but it's really just a pretty portrait. So yeah, looking back on this, not impressed whatsoever with this, but maybe we'll see some better things. This is a wheel of my art mindset. Have an idea, make it, hate it, oh well, start over. And this is definitely a struggle that I still have, where I'm not happy with what I make, but it's more of like a, oh, I wish I could change that. It's not like a, oh, why did I make this entire thing? Why did I make this entire thing, if that makes sense? So they had us do like a timeline of our life, looking back at our artistic journey, which for me, looking back, it's kind of pointless. I think this kind of stuff like gets you too into your own head, and for a couple of 20-year-olds, it's like, what do we really have to look back on? What kind of experiences do we really have? And it forces you to kind of like draw out some sort of story for yourself, when maybe not having experienced anything yet is totally fine. And you know, some artists draw inspiration from their lives, and that's great, but having everybody just do like a timeline, it seemed a little simple. Anyway, that leads me to my first real story of how simple these art school tasks were. And I'm a fan of simple art tasks and art projects that maybe they seem simple, but they allow you to learn something. Totally know what you're talking about there. Totally behind that. But this art project, this was just like nothing at all before. So the TA taped a bunch of white string to a white wall, shone some bright table lamp, like desk lamps at it, and we were supposed to draw the shadows and stuff on the wall of the white string. Only, think about it, there's 20 of us in this art one. Okay, well, 14 to 20, depending on who decided to show up. You're at least 10 feet away from the wall. You can't see the string on the wall. There's not even that. There's no explanation of how this is gonna open up your eye and allow you to see stuff differently. It was really just boom, boom, this is today's lesson plan. Do this for an hour. And I don't blame her, because she's just a TA. At that point, the TAs were not even getting healthcare from the school, or like any vacation days or anything at all. So that was just one of the struggles of going to a public university in studio art track, as opposed to going to like an art school where I'm pretty sure you can test in and out of like different ranks of classes, but they didn't have anything like that in the studio art course, which was a bummer. So I had to take basically a year of those type of classes. So on this page, just a small sketch, and I was fleshing out an animation that I did for this class. They said we could do one of our projects in animation, so I decided to do that and teach myself. Because none of the teachers like knew animation, but they would accept animation as a project, so that was kind of weird. Here's something for class. Okay, so creativity, what we say, what we think, what we feel, and what we do. I mean, this is all like pretty straightforward stuff. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So, is there something else? Like, I thought, okay, we're gonna have way more, right, to fill up this, but like, nope, I didn't get it. I was like, okay, this is creativity. What else is there to feel about what else is there to do? I don't understand what this assignment was. Didn't then, didn't now. I'm not sure what this is. Here's some kind of a fairy sitting on a bed with really bad everything. Oh, I was working on a gypsy character, and I don't know what this is, like a different style of this. Oh, they had us track what are the different parts of our brain. So, I didn't want to do anything like creative, so I just looked up the map of the parts of the brain, and wouldn't you know it, like, I discussed this with my psychology friends, and they are like, no, this is all wrong. We have no idea what any of the different parts of the brain do. Again, just a dumb thing that like looks cool and looks creative and fun, but for me, it didn't spark any creativity at all, man. So here I wrote knowledge acquisition versus free-flowing creativity, which creates this weird duality. Why would knowledge acquisition be something you can't do while you're creative? So why would we be studying like creativity in school and be like, we don't need to acquire any knowledge to get to that creativity? That's the point that just boggles my mind. That I don't understand. So here we go. Release, let the mind wander. I do not remember drawing any of this, but this must have been just doodles to a lecture. Like, this is the kind of thing that would be, most of the class would do this. Just doodle along and rewrite exactly what the people were telling us. There was no debating these facts, because in America, from basically when we're born, we're just told, you know, the teacher's gonna recite these facts to you, you recite back. And a lot of people took this class very much this way. And so I can see myself like doing this now, just kind of being like, yup. Just let the mind wander. That's how you unlock creativity, right? Transient hypofrontality. That sounds like some nonsense science to me. Right versus left brain, that's all been like debunked. Yeah, a lot of times when I get my ideas, I am in the shower or I'm driving, but that's not my mind wandering. My mind is like very focused on doing these tasks. So, yeah, that's just pure laziness. And, I honestly think they're just there's recess. Yeah, like, it just seems like lazy to me. Especially since the clouds are so, like, boring looking. Like, I could have drawn some kind of animal shape in the clouds, right? But all throughout my like school experience, whether it was like sitting in front of the desk or under the fluorescent lighting, it was not a very creatively stimulating place. So, oh, here we go. That's, you know, economics. I was in this economics class and the teacher asked if we had any questions, and I asked a question, and he basically said like, well, I wasn't really taking questions. So I dropped that class. This is my cousin's favorite drawing. The storm brewing is very accurate because, like, of course this whole time I'm thinking, like, do I need this? Like, is this for me? Or should I just jump ship? You know, that's her sly face. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, the buildings, the scenery, the people that I met there, of course, was just so fantastic though. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. And this is like one of the old buildings with the archway, a walkway, just like in Harry Potter. And I just wanted to always like get my friends down there and just hang out down there. But we never really did because it was quite a walk a ways from where our apartments were. And here's a sketch of my character, Bat. But I would never draw her in a skirt now. Here's just some more fun random doodlies. Here's one of my characters. So at this point I had already done a figure drawing class and a painting class, and I'll just share the last two stories with you as we're getting kind of towards the end of the sketchbook. So my figure drawing professor was a great guy, super fun. Had us actually do critiques, like group critiques, which was the only one that had us actually discuss in class critiques. But he was a collage artist, and he said that day one. I'm a collage artist. I don't know why they had me teach this figure drawing class. I do not know how to draw the figure. And the whole class just kind of did a collective sigh because, well, it wasn't all art students either. For some reason that one like had non-art students in it, but they at least even wanted to like learn something. We all felt his disappointment. So my painting class was different. She was a painter, but I never, like, she was supposedly a painter because I never saw her paint once in the class. The only thing she really said to me was I went up to her with my idea for my final because we had to paint 12 different paintings for our final. And she just told me to do something completely different with no real explanation. So yeah, it's just a little disheartening when you never see your professors draw. So I'm gonna go back. This is a portrait based on how my great uncle Ronnie draws. And he has had an amazing life. He was homeless for a long time, and he's autistic, so he draws like, took like a long time to copy his style, and he does it in these like crayons, I'm pretty sure. So then I did a portrait of me in his style, which I still really like. And then I wanted to go back and read this. Really interesting that meaning comes from narrative therapy, which is really the opposite of what I'm working with now, is more symbols and simple stories, magical journaling powers, ability to fight paper cuts. And in dementia patients, journaling made them happy. Oh boy. This one is another interesting one. A creative youth leads to creative adulthood and beyond. I'm not sure if I agree with that, you know? There's a ton of creatives who just went through some sort of trauma in their adulthood and became creative as adults. Creativity as a cognitive function, mental gymnastics. Now that I like. A process of the human mind and body. See, here we go. Ideas, exercise, sleep. And maybe this is a fitting end for it because, you know, ideas, exercise, and sleep. That's all you really need. Do you need people at a school giving you assignments to be creative? I ended up just thinking, no. And I also like this drawing, the great unlearning, right? Like, you know, you have to tell people your stories. You have to give people your, you know, art or whatever because she tied it up into a bow. And then I drew my friend's kitten. And then we were talking about aging older adults. This is just a drawing, I guess, about feeling like you're in the Midwest. Whoa! Some kind of freaky spiral. Oh, I vaguely remember what I was gonna do with this. Huh. I think this was for a story that my cousin wrote. Yes, in fact, the little girl is an alien. And this is supposed to be her hair. Oh, and then we have some Copic markers done. But this is already in 2018, so that's when I finished up the sketchbook. Fall 2018. Thank you so much for joining me and hearing some stories about back when I was in college. So don't let this discourage you. It's just a couple of my experiences. And like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world, even though it was a really pretty much bad experience as far as the art classes go. But everything else really made up for it. So, I'll see you next video. Bye guys.